thrilled to be here, and I'm most especially happy to be here to support someone who I've gotten to know over the last 2 years, who is someone who's been leading in a state that has desperately needed leadership. Yes. Someone who stood up to public corruption, stood up to those ills of our society that are difficult sometimes for us to even open our eyes and look at because they're so disturbing. But Tom Corbett not only had his eyes open, he's been moving forward to fix those problems. And now you have an opportunity, an extraordinary opportunity, to put Tom Corbett in Harrisburg, in the governor's chair, where he is going to be able to bring Pennsylvania back to the greatness that it once had and deserves again. And, you know, with 3 weeks left, you all can sense the desperation. There is desperation in the Democratic Party in Pennsylvania. And you can sense it, you see it on your televisions, you feel it, you hear it on the radio. I know a little bit about desperation. I saw desperation a year ago in New Jersey. In New Jersey, desperation had a white beard and glasses. His name was John Corzine, and he was desperate to hold on to power for his party. And now you see the Democratic establishment in these next 3 weeks are going to be real desperate because they know that Tom Corbett has the issues on his side. They know he has common sense on his side. So now, get ready, Pennsylvania. All that's left is for them to try to smear a good man and try to make you believe something about Tom Corbett that you know from watching him over his entire career isn't true. Same thing happened to me in New Jersey. The people of New Jersey stood up and said, enough of that type of politics. Tom Corbett and you are going to stand together to say enough of that politics in Pennsylvania, and you're going to elect him governor on November 2nd. I know that. Good stuff. Then comes the good stuff, because when you get the opportunity to lead, folks like Tom and I know how to grab the reins and lead. And they said you couldn't do it. You know, in New Jersey, when I walked in the door, John Corzine left me with a $2.2 billion deficit for the 5 months remaining in the last fiscal year. And the Democrats, they rubbed their hands in glee. They said, oh no, now see, the governor's going to have to raise taxes to fill this gap. And so I had a choice to make. I had to decide, do I sit down and talk to the legislature about increasing taxes to close that gap, or do I impound $2.2 billion in spending by executive order and balance that budget? Now, for those of you who've watched me for a little while, many of you thought I couldn't So we signed an executive order, we impounded $2.2 billion of spending. And then I asked for a speech before the joint session of the legislature. And I went down there, my first speech before them, and this is what I said to them. You created a $2.2 billion deficit. You left it on my doorstep and the doorstep of the people of New Jersey, and you thought that you were going to get them to pay higher taxes to fix it. I just signed an executive order. I fixed it by myself. Thank you. Have a nice day. You know, the Democrats on the floor of the legislature, they were dizzy. They didn't know what to do. The press came down and said, what happened? What just happened? The governor didn't ask you to do anything. He did it all himself. And, you know, they started calling me all kinds of names. You know, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, all those great leaders of the past. And the next day, you know, I saw the Senate president. We were walking in together to the State House the next day, and I saw all these awful things he'd said about me in the newspaper in the morning. So I said to him, Steve, I got an idea for you. So how about I go upstairs and just vacate that executive order, and I'll let you guys find the $2.2 billion in spending to cut. He said, oh, Governor, don't overreact. You know, you did just fine. Don't worry about it. And then we turned to the $11 billion deficit on a $29 billion budget that John Corzine left us for this fiscal year. And you're hearing the same things in Pennsylvania. You're hearing the Democrats say there's no way that Tom Corbett can balance the budget and not raise taxes on the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, I know because I know Tom that there's no way that's going to happen, but I also, if you need further evidence, just look across the Delaware River and what we did in New Jersey. They sent me a tax increase, a millionaire's tax. And you know how that works in New Jersey. That's special New Jersey math. That means a tax on anybody who makes $400,000 or more, including small businesses that are trying to employ people. And I said, listen, you want to close down the government to get me increased taxes, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. But you know, the last guy they closed the government on, John Corbett, because they were arguing over how much to raise taxes, he moved a cot into the governor's office during the government shutdown. He brought all the photographers in. He said, look at that cot. I'm not leaving here. I'm going to stay here, in this office, sleep right here, until this crisis is solved. So I figured, since these were the same fellas who had been closing down the government with John Corbett, I needed to call them in and remind them there had been a change in personnel. And so I said to them, listen, you can close down the government if you want. That's your business. You want to do it, that's fine. People in New Jersey might be relieved to have you guys close down. But if you do it, don't think I'm moving some cot into the governor's office. I'm going to get in those black Suburbans. I'm going to go back to the governor's residence. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to order a pizza. I'm going to open a beer, and I'm going to watch the Mets. So, you don't think I was willing to sacrifice. You know I was, because if I'm willing to watch the Mets, I am willing to sacrifice. And so, what happened? They sent me that tax increase. I vetoed it immediately. In the first 30 seconds that they handed it to me, I handed it right back to them. And then they passed my budget with 99.8% of the line items exactly as I had sent them to them in March. And we had a balanced budget in New Jersey for the first time in 8 years without any new taxes or increased taxes on the people of our state. That's what Tom Corbett's going to do.